Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Truth Conversation Show. We're on episode 10. This is going to be so exciting. I have an incredible guest for you today. I absolutely love this woman. She is beautiful on the outside and on the inside. So I'd like to introduce you to Marie Archibald. Hi, Marie. How are you?
Hi, Claire. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everybody. So excited.
You're so welcome. So Marie's a psychic mentor for spiritual coaches. And how have we actually known each other, Marie? Like, I was trying to think back. I know definitely 2 years, and I'm like, it must be even before that when we were in Melanie and Leia's world. Like, we must have been femme fatale days, right?
For sure.
Sometimes
I think it was 2018. It must be 2018.
Right. So
yeah.
So a long time. So it's great to have you on the show. I'd love you, Marie, just to take a few minutes just to introduce yourself fully and just start to, I think it would be great if we start to talk about the truth of, psychic abilities, spiritual coaches, how the two things come together, how it differs from the normal strategic paradigms of business, and how that helps you, how it's helped your clients, and how anybody that's listening here, how we can dig into that side to really like help out our business. I think that's the kind of theme that I think we're going to move around today. So I would love to just let you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay, sure. So at the moment, because my business has definitely evolved in the last 4 years and even in the last 2 years. But at the moment, my business, because of my, psychic channeling that I've been incorporating in my business, I have changed tremendously. Everything has expanded. And so what I'm really helping spiritual leaders with is really unlocking their radiance, really seeing their true gifts, because this was something that I had to work through in my own journey, and really seeing and embracing and shining in their gifts, in their radiance, while also creating deeper. That has been the one consistent thing from the beginning for me, has always been, creating this deep alignment in your life and your business, especially being a mom as well. So there has been so many factors with that. And then in the aesthetics and branding side, because I also have that side to me, I really help entrepreneurs refine their brands, to create magnetic brands, or even to refine them into a more luxurious brand with their aesthetics. And so, feminine embodiment has played a huge role it's part of my life. And in my business now, along with the psychic channeled guidance. So it's a whole thing. It's a whole situation there.
I love that. And your branding is like so beautiful. Like it does stand out on the online space. You can tell the work that you've done for yourself with your clients. Like it is just beautiful. Like that's, whenever I look at your stuff, it's just like, oh, it's so beautiful. Like I am not in that energy at all. And I'm just like, sometimes like you just look and you're just like, looks so beautiful. Like I'm more like over here in the masculine vibes, and it's just like it does look beautiful. So yeah, anybody who wants one, like go and head out and look at Marie's stuff. It's beautiful. So tell us what it was like before then in business, before you started to refine branding and the psychic elements that started to come through for you. What was business like prior to that? What did that actually look like?
It's interesting that this is the theme you want to talk about, because I have been thinking about this a lot lately. Of course, actually, I'm not surprised that, connection there. But things have changed so much, because what I've been realizing and looking back is that I was very much in the strategy, strategy focus, like the masculine focus. And it's ironic because, yes, I know I have a feminine vibe to my brand and all of that, and what I embody. But if you look at my human design chart, I actually have three arrows that are to the masculine and only one to the feminine. So I naturally do have like that masculine drive. Like I'm a manifesting generator. I love to work. I love strategy, and I love organizing and planning and all that stuff. But equally, or maybe more, the creativity part, the flow, the surrendering has played such a huge part in my whole journey, learning how to surrender and be. And the biggest thing in the past year, I would have to say that, I've really learned to do, and was not resist the surrender. When all you want to do is move and launch and sell and like have another masterclass, and like you want to go go go, like your mind is like go go, come on, like keep things up. And there's just this, I feel almost like a hand almost just like holding me down gently and being like, wait, just pause. And then I'm like, no. But every time it's happened, it's gotten easier and easier. So if I look back to answer your question, in let's say 2020, when I first kind of came out as a coach, it was all about strategy. I wanted to learn all about the strategy. People were telling me they loved the look of my brand, but I was like, yeah, but like, let me get the strategy going. You know, I almost, for a long time, I not repressed, but I did not necessarily embrace my natural gifts. My natural gifts being creating beauty in life and business, and my psychic gifts.
Yeah.
You know, I was very much in resistance to both. And so which part do you want me to touch on? The psychic?
Well, I can relate so much to that, because I remember I think it was probably about 2020 as well. Like, I had my own private Facebook group, and every week I would come on, I would do card readings for people, channel for people, and then I don't know, just maybe got up in my head or something, and just like pulled. It was like, it was there, it's so effortless, but then it sort of became a thing, and then it was like like, let's just pull all that down again, let's go strategy again. So I can definitely relate with that. So how did that so when you were on the strategy stuff, like what did that look like? You were in lots of programs, was there much embodiment, was there lots of absorption, and how did that play out for you, you know, as the CEO of your business? Like, how did that look and feel? Was it quite a bit of hustle? Was it standing in your power still? Was your power outside of yourself? Like, how did that look for you?
I feel like there's different phases of it. So there's one part of me where I would be so much in the strategy, but it was coming from a place of lack almost. Like I needed like one more class, one more thing to learn, you know, work with one more coach, one more mastermind, one more this, like then I'll be ready to. And so never really like, you know what I'm trying to say. So it's always just like I needed more, I needed to be more, and not accepting the fact, or, you know, trusting like I'm already enough as I am right now, which is where I am now I see that. And so there's that part, and then there's also the part where I'm balancing the two, and the momentum is high, and I have the flow. So it's like I'm implementing the strategy and the feminine embodiment, and like I'm taking time off, but I'm also launching, and everything is like this beautiful, like I have chills right now, this beautiful dance, right? And momentum is high and things are working. So, and even though I am, you know, implementing strategy, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but when it's the only thing, you know, that's when it becomes like you're in your head. And I know when I'm in my head, like that's not good. So, and I wanted to say something before you said, I have an open head syndrome. I wanted to say something before. Oh, the one of the biggest things that I've learned to do too, and a lesson was, you know, embracing, you know, giving myself grace for my inconsistencies. And there's nothing wrong with this, you know, with the flow. There's an actual flow. And when I started to, you know, have that awareness and see that my true power would really like rise up and grow in those times where I was behind the scenes and being, you know, going more within, that is where I actually got the power to then, and then it would start again. And then the momentum would bring up, and it's just like this dance. And either way, it's fine. It's perfect. It all goes together. So
so funny you say that, because I was just on a masterclass yesterday with two beautiful ladies, and they've just brought out this program. I'm actually going to do it as we talk about being all the programs. But it was all around, it's called FemFit, and it's all around connecting back to the body and moving with your cycle in that as well. So it's very much like you're talking about the different flows and the lean back, and you feel this building up and moving. Like we're actually digging into a program that helps you through your cycle, like how you can move through that flow of your cycle in business and things like that. When are the rest times? When are the go times? When is this? It was all about the hormone stuff, like which hormone comes in when, you know, you could be moving, and it's just like, it becomes like a whole dance now, bringing in the feminine elements and the flow and things like that all around your cycle. And I just think, you know, there's so many women, obviously you've managed to do this and work out your flow, but I know a lot of my clients come in and they buy everything, and it's just like, you know, they're just in this program and this program and this program. And I think like when you are purchasing, I was exactly the same as you, and we're probably doing this at the same time, like coming from this lack mindset, or you come from the same as like, that's what I want what she has. So then therefore, if I do it like she does it, if I follow this program, then yeah, we're off. And it's like never worked.
Yeah.
Worked in that way. So I love the fact, like you say, that you're starting to work with yourself, and you've found this beautiful process of doing that. And you know, I'm all about finding the truth from within yourself and fully expressing that and becoming magnetic. And I love what you said about you know, knowing that you're okay right now.
Mhm.
And it's like, you know, if we look at what we've learned, like, you know, 4.5 years in business and so on, and you think of all the programs that we've taken, all the experience that we've had, all the, you know, the knowing, the knowledge, and then we're coming in and then we hear from ourselves these inner guidance, these inner, it's just like, how much more do you actually need to know before you're good enough? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, time to hit the pause button. Do you know what? I'm good enough now. I'm
Yeah.
good enough now. So I absolutely loved, yeah, what you were saying, that I can resonate.
Mm.
And I think so many people need to hear that, because they have invested so much, they have done the programs, they've had their own personal experience, and it's just like, but it's not
Mhm.
enough. Now I need the sales, then I need the marketing, then I need this and this. And like you
Yeah.
say, it's not to say you don't need all of that, but this is where I'd love you to lead into now, like, because you're obviously following this inner guidance that you have, that we all have, not that we're all open to it yet, you know, but a lot of us are. How has that shifted for how you show up in your business, how you plan your business? Like, does that in itself, has that almost created a new strategy for you, like your own individual strategy through listening and hearing the guidance that you have from within you?
Mhm. Oh, that's interesting. Um, can you just rephrase it? Sorry, because I think I lost part of it. I was.
I'm not quite sure, but we'll go again. It's just why I'm in the time. But like, I was thinking, like we were talking about strategy based, but then when you have this inner guidance, and then so
Yeah.
the messages and stuff start to come through with you,
Yeah.
like I'd love to know how that works in your business, how that shifted things for you. But then does that
Okay.
almost become your own strategy in itself? Like like you were saying, you start to work out this flow, like that almost becomes a strategy in
Mhm.
itself for you, rather than reaching for everybody else's. How should I do this? Has that been the case for you?
Yeah. One thing that I did notice, which would come up frequently, and again, this I had so much resistance. I feel like things would drop, and I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Like I would almost like not even. It was like too good to be true, or it's like I couldn't really see it when it was in front of me, right? And
Yeah.
so oftentimes my downloads for programs or whatever, I get, and downloads come all the time. I've got so many just before this call. They come all the time, and then I'll forget about it. I'm an MG, so it's just like, yeah, whatever. I'm like this and I like this and I like that, and I'll forget about it. And then like a month, 3 months, 6 months later, the same download will drop, and I'll be like all excited. I'm like, wait a minute, but I just had that download before, and now it's coming back. So really, what it comes down to, I think that the main strategy, one of the things would be trusting myself, like trusting, going, moving with that trust, with my intuition and knowing. But I think a big part of that is the clarity and like knowing who we are and seeing what our gifts are. And that's why with like the jumping from program to program, it's fine. I know we need certain skills and strategy, and of course I still learn things, but I feel like it's always going to come down to the same thing as having that clarity and seeing your gifts and making sure that everything is in alignment. So the alignment piece is a big part of my strategy. Is this aligned with my brand? Is this aligned with how I want to even run things? Like it goes so deep. Like how do I want to spend my day? And when it comes to, and my energy, when do I want to, do I want to do live programs? Do I want, what time do I want? Like it's just like the smallest things, but this is our day to day. How do I want to spend my summer? So if you're, now in the moment, it's like, okay, strategy. How do I want to spend my summer? Do I want to be running live programs every day? No. I know how I want to spend my time and how I want to mentor people. So because of that, and because I know myself so deeply now and my energy, I I have a strategy for the summer of what I'm going to be offering and how I'm going to be working with people. So it's very like, I want to say based on intuition and alignment. However, and this might sound contradictory, it's so important. I think like when we're in this work and being spiritual leaders and, all this stuff, and like me with my design, and to to be able to stick to what we want to do as well.
Mm,
I feel like it's so easy to be like, if we go too much with, I don't feel like that anymore, then it doesn't create that safety that we need for our business to make it scalable. And so there's a lot of like balancing. I hope I answered your question.
yeah. No, that's amazing. So just out of interest then, so you're a manifesting generator. What's your authority?
Sacral. So I'm a 2/5 NG sacral, which
Mm,
is interesting because I have this like duality of like the 2 is the hermit.
yeah.
So it's like I need my time alone. And I think that's why I'm like with my boundaries, I'm so strong with my boundaries because I need that alone time where I can be in my feminine.
Yeah.
It's part of me. I need that. But at the same time, with the 2 line, which has been a big part of my whole journey too, is that it has made it difficult to see my gifts, myself. And I would, I will need like I need it to be like almost reflected back to me, like as a mirror, let's say. But
Yeah.
as much as that can happen, I am the mirror for others in such a strong way. So it's like this dual thing. And then the 5 line is the leader line. So I'm meant to be leading and impacting and being like the trendsetter. So I've got this like leader line, and then I've got this hermit line. So it's like this, again, this balance like all the time, consistently every day. So
Yeah, no, I love that. So I'm a 1/3, and there is like a duality there as well. It's like, the one, I need to know everything, like I need to learn everything. So I'm a bit of a learnaholic because I love learning, but like I need to know everything. So I got a solid foundation to go on. And yet I'm a 3, so I'm just experimenting the whole time. So I'm
yeah,
just going up the stairs, falling down, up the stairs, so it's like I need to know everything. And then it's like put your crash helmet on, because that's all you're ever going to be doing. Up the stairs, fall down, up the stairs, fall down, up the stairs. Like you're never going
yeah,
into any other room. And it's like, but then you need that evidence, like, the investigator, the 1 line of having all that evidence. So it is like, yeah, I've got all the evidence now, but you're still going to go and knock your head. Like it's crazy, isn't
yeah.
it? Some of
Oh
this
my
stuff. When
God.
you realize that, like you say, when you get into the duality and when you really understand who you are. So I'm a splenic. So I'm just like, hear it once and it's gone and it's in the moment. And
Yeah.
it's so funny, like even my parents are like, nothing surprises us with you now, Claire. Like if you just say, right, we're going here tomorrow, like we're going here, or right, we're going to paint a room today. Like they're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I
So
remember, I remember a couple of years ago how you'd be so fast to act, like so quick. And I would be like, how does she do it? Now I understand, but I didn't realize you were splenic, so it makes sense. But
yeah.
it's amazing because that's something
And
a lot of people would love to do, and like not sit on things. So you're just like, I'm gonna act, I'm gonna go.
we have to, like, the spin, like we act and then we have to like disconnect the outcome, because like, and so the spiritual part, that's where I started to get, I know we were in a mastermind together and I started to, for some reason, run. I never run in my life, like and I started to run around our woods like every morning just as some fitness.
Oh yeah, I
And so
remember.
that, obviously unknown to me, was almost like a meditative state, like I was very open. And so like you were saying, the downloads would come in and it would always start off the same. It'd be like a title of a program, Elevate No Matter
Yeah.
What. That was my very first one back in 2020. I've just opened it up again actually this week. It's quite funny. I was talking about this, but Elevate No Matter What. So I would hear a name and then I'd just be like, what is this? And it'd be like, oh, 4 weeks or something, or 4 modules. And I'm like, okay. And then I'd get home, do the graphic and not really have a clue what was in it, put it out. They always
Yeah.
sold, whether there was 1 person, 7 people, like whatever, they always sold. And and then I had to trust, because this is how, with the the psychic stuff, there is no planning, there is no structure, there is no 5
Yeah.
minutes I'm going to speak to this. It's literally like you just hit the go button, you're in Zoom somehow and you're like, please let something come out of my mouth that these people need to hear or they need to know. So that took a lot of trust. When you were talking about trusting the download, trusting that the channeling is going to come through in the moment that you need it. And the more I started to lean into that, like I'd have a program and it may just have 4 words and I'd be like, okay, there's 4 modules to it. Like that was it, go. And that was then when I started to trust the channeling that was coming through. And I remember one I had was called Magnetic. And by the time, and bearing in mind, I probably only run 15 minutes, 20 max, right from the front door, round and back again. Within 20 minutes, I remember having the word magnetic, and I had the abbreviation, like for every letter of that word, like all that came out. So every one of those letters was a module. The price just came, like, it literally was like out the sky, and I had to trust it, get back, do the graphic, throw it out, and that was it. And so that's what you were witnessing. I'm not even sure at that time if I knew about the splenic kind of vibe, but that does then make sense, that it's like, this is what I want to do now, go, because we can't overthink in those ways. So I think it is so close when you really put the human design and the trust in the psychic and the downloads and that together, you really see then how that gets to operate in that way. So yeah, I bloody love that. I love that. I remember that time, and it was like, but then again, like, then I went through a stage where I was like, it almost scares you because it's so easy. It was so effortless that it's just like, well, I'm not working hard enough, you know, and then you go into this whole other pattern again. So how do you, like, when you're doing channeling for your clients and stuff, obviously there's no real like pre-work or anything. It's like, what was it like the first time you started doing that, and you literally almost rock up with nothing and you just got to trust? It's like, okay.
Yeah, so trust again, it was scary. So anyway, I had been called since 2020. It was really like I had these strong callings, like this pull to like dive deeper into it, because my whole life I've again resisted that I had these gifts. And I remember I took my course actually with Tiffany Skiro to work on the psychic development. I did the program. We had our first meeting, like our first reading, session, practice session. And literally on the first time I was reading somebody, and this person was in the UK. I didn't know her. You know, we had to like look at her for like a minute and like read her. And I was like, I don't know what okay, like, let me see, you know? And I literally like, her mother came through for me. I think I was one of the only ones that her mother came through, and I got a visual of her holding out someone, because I saw it from my point of view, that holding out a red bouquet. And I told her that, and she turned her computer around, and that she had a photo of herself holding out a red bouquet. And even everyone was like, what? And you know, it was the mom. I knew that somehow, I knew, because you know, it was her mother holding this out to her to kind of say like, I support you, I see what you're doing in your business. It was her branding photos, she said. And then in that moment, not only did I find out, yes, you're psychic, but also you're a medium. It's like, what? Who is this? What's happening? So it was very kind of easy, like almost the first time I had my reading, it just poured through, and I didn't have to like, that's when I realized, I'm like, how long, like I've had this all along. I just never like allowed it to come through. And the moment I did, you know, and then the more I did it, and it really was through taking the action and just like, you know, putting it out there. I wanted to take a second program to develop reading for people, but there was a program was pushed for months, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm just going to start reading people. And I did. I practiced with a couple of friends, and I just, every single time, it's just, everyone says it, spot on, you're spot on, you're spot on. It's like, what? Okay. And so now I just trust it. So, you know, and I know, and so many times, even through meditations, through healing activations that I've had, my guides come through for me, you know, and I feel them and I see things, and it's just like, it's so beautiful. And I feel so supported and guided to the point. And that's where I think, you know what, it's almost like the more I've dive into that side, the less I feel like I need, the less master classes I join, the less I feel the need to even launch a program after program after I'm good, you know, it's just more of this like deep knowing of like launching when it really feels aligned, not from a place of I need to, and also trusting that when I do, it's I'm divinely guided. And
yeah, that reminds me, like even today, so we took the boys out on their dirt bikes together with it. We got a new trailer the other day. They've both got dirt bikes now, so we promised that we'd take them up on the Ridgeway, which is an ancient sort of track thing that goes on for like hundreds of miles across the UK. And we're like, okay, we're going to take them up there. And there's this one spot, and a lot of people get up there, and it's like, how are we going to park with this trailer? And we need to keep the trailer on the back of the car, because it hasn't got a lock on the wheel or anything, and obviously we were walking off with them, so it's like we must keep this on. I was like, there is one spot up there that if we can park, great. If we can't, like, we're done, and then we'll have to drive 3 or 4 miles to even be able to turn around because it's single country lane. And it was like, okay guys, you know, and we just pulled it, and me and Simon looked at each other and went, of course, because like you say, when you start trusting these things. And I remember when we used to have our big Volkswagen camper van, and it was a long wheelbase, and if for any reason we had to go into the town, there was like one little car park with 5 spaces that we could park. We couldn't get in the multi-stories or anything because it was too high. And it was like, we've got this at the whole town, we've got this one little spot. Of course. It was just like, it would just be like, please, like, we could do this. And then honestly today, hundreds of cars started coming in, and we were just like, how? You always like, your human gets shocked, doesn't it? Like, how? And then you're just like, thank you, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
I absolutely love that.
Love it.
What's it like now for you, like, you know, doing readings for people? Like, how's that helped others in their business now, through not necessarily being psychic themselves, but through your readings? Like, how do you know, help other women? Like, what's the changes that your clients in that are seeing through your work?
They receive so much clarity in terms of, like, you know, where, because part of my gifts is, well, you know, we talk about the clairs, and one of my main clairs has actually, since I've developed my psychic gift since last summer, my clairvoyance has like shot through the roof. Because before, I, you know, was more about the knowing, like I had a couple of other senses that were much stronger. The knowing and the feeling were much stronger, and now I feel like the visions that I get are insane. Like, so I get, not only do I channel, but I get visuals of them, of their brand, of what they're going to be doing. Like, I just see, it's just like this beautiful movie. And so and because I'm creative and I love beauty and all that, it's just like this beautiful, like, combination of things. So I really give them, they leave with so much clarity in, let's say, like a roadmap, almost like they can see now, okay, I see where I'm meant to go. And it's not that I'm telling them this is what you should do, this is what I see, but to them it makes sense, and they can kind of like put the pieces together of, like, they know what I'm basically talking about. And so and one of the things too is, like, everything is always, you know, my guidance is always to make them kind of more take more elevated steps in their business, right? So it's more like that. They leave so lit up and so excited, so they know, it's like, it's how do I say this? Like, when I'm speaking with them, like, I'm just like looking everywhere now. When I'm speaking with them, it's just this, like, there's like a connection. So we oftentimes, like, we both have full body chills, or like they'll be crying, or it's just like a lot of feeling and emotion, and they leave so excited and so lit up, because it's like their higher self. I am tapping into their higher self, and they feel like, oh my God, like, yes, like, this is it, you know? And so it's just so beautiful. Oftentimes I get, you know, they tell me that, you know, you've confirmed things, like, you've told me, like, you've confirmed this, you've confirmed that. Like, I'll confirm, and I have chills right now. I'll confirm things that, like, you have channeled already maybe a week ago, and then, like, I'll bring it back. So sometimes that's all we need, is, like, you know what, that confirmation of, like I was saying, like, I would doubt my downloads, and then they'd keep coming back, and I'd be like, why didn't I just go and trust? Like, you know, sometimes we kind of maybe we'll need that little confirmation, that nudge from our guides. So there's so much that comes through.
I love that. It's so funny, because a few weeks ago, probably about 4 weeks ago now, I had this program download, and it was called Life Force, and it was all about doing business differently. And honestly, it just channeled right the way through. I haven't actually gone with it yet. I've got so much other stuff on at the moment, but it's just one of those things that's sitting there. And I must admit, at the minute, like, my human is questioning, am I actually supposed to be going this way? Am I gonna? And it's just parked over there at the minute. So yeah, I probably need to come on and have a session with you one day, because it's just like, what is that over there? Like, and it's completely different to, like, anything that I've seen on the online space. So, you know, sometimes our visions, like you say, the confirmation ones, you're like, yeah, and then some of them are like so out there and so different to anything that we can even get our minds around. Like, it just takes a minute to like my human just needs to go a little bit steady on this one. Like it can't
Yeah.
like cope for a second. So I'm like waiting for that one all to align up. But do you have that sometimes like with your clients where they're just like, oh my,
Like that, something that they're afraid to jump into, you mean?
like, yeah, like sometimes it's almost like not overwhelming, but you know, when you open up to see, because sometimes we can't always see that this the big visions for ourselves, or a lot of people may not be able to, that when you start to show them some of these bigger visions, that they're just like, oh, okay, can I actually do that? You do you know what I mean? Is there
Yes,
some clients that you've actually shocked and they're like, oh, I'm gonna be doing that type thing?
definitely, definitely. Yeah, they'll come back like hours later and be like, "Oh my God, I'm still up. Like, there's so much, like, I need to process this." It's like, okay, like I wish I could give it to them in doses, but it just all comes through in one, like, here you go. And they're like, but that's actually why actually I changed one of my offers because of that, because I kind of felt like, oh my God, I've given her so much, her whole like path. And then, so what I did was I extended it and I kind of created like a call plus Voxer for a couple of days so that they can process and we can kind of plan out and like kind of pull out parts of pieces. So it's not just like, boom, here you go.
Yeah.
I kind of continue with them. So yeah, that's why I did that.
But like when you're channeling, it just comes through, doesn't it? There is like no stop button, there's no, and you're
Yeah.
just like, blah, 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 and it just kind of comes out. I did a Voxer offer for 24 hours the other day. I was just like, okay, where do I want to serve in this moment? What would feel really good? And I've never done 24 Voxer. They've always been longer containers. Like, yeah, this would be really fun. Sold them. And then like so much will come out over that 24 hours.
Yeah.
I literally had a lady, she bought 2 lots of the course and she was like, can I like have a month in between? I was like, sure. And because I'd never done the 24-hour boxes before, but when you're channeling constantly for these people and so much come out, and she was like, I've got more out of 24 hours than what I did in 6-week, 12-week, 3-month programs. Like, holy crap. So yeah, I can definitely resonate with what you're saying. Like when it comes through, it comes through.
You're reminding me of actually the last one that I did. So there was one client I was thinking of where it was only one call at the time, the offer. So she was like, oh my God. And then I changed it and then someone bought that offer and it was 3 days in Voxer with the channeled call. What we covered, and it was insane to the fact like I've changed the offer again because I'm like, I literally gave her like 6 months worth of coaching in like 3 days. Yeah. And she wrote back, like I have the messages like, like we totally collapsed time, like, oh my God. And what was amazing was she worked really fast. So I channel something, she'd do it. She'd do it. And it was like the 3 days were insane. And we redid her whole brand image, her branding, her offers, her pricing, like everything, her bio and her Instagram, like in 3 days. And she goes, we totally collapsed time. Like, yes, we did. It was insane. It was good.
I love that. Do you do the like if you were, as somebody came to you for a session and then say the branding stuff, you're like, telling me colors are off or this is off, like do you then go and do the branding in that as well for them as part of that package, or do you keep the things very separate? How do you do your work with that?
I've kept it very separate. It's funny. Yeah. So I do my own branding. When I first came out with it in 2020, my signature branding program, I did have a few VIP clients, but I didn't offer it again after that. And then more recently, I've been thinking I want to bring it back. So I don't do branding for anyone.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I thought you did the branding as well. I mean, you're like, yeah, we did our branding, we did that. And I thought,
no, because it was more
and then
the concepts. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So the concept. So I would channel like, okay, these are the colors I see, or she'd send things and I'd kind of like, give her my opinion on how to tweak it. And my vision for her brand identity, like I see you like this, like more the concept part of it, but not actual like going into Canva and like, here's your graphic. So for me, yeah, and like the whole branding thing itself in my business it's evolving, right? So I'm going to see like what's going to come out of it. One thing definitely is for example, what I did with her is something I definitely want to continue doing. I don't know if I will do the actual graphics, and if I do, it might be like a private client here and there. You know what I mean? Like an aligned client here and there. But I'm not a graphic designer. I'm like self-taught, and it's not what I want to spend most of my time in. But definitely like strategizing your brand identity, your aesthetics, and like sharing my vision and like coaching you through that is something that I love to do. So yeah. And to answer your question, so I did kind of implement it in that 3-day Voxer, but that did come up for myself, I was like, do I want to keep, branding is separate, or is it something I'm just going to include? So I'm still working out those details.
I
Yeah.
love that. But it just shows that, doesn't it? When some people are like, oh, I'm a branding coach and then I'm this, and it's just like, I've got to do the two things separate. It's like, yeah, but you can do it separate, you can pull it together, and it totally makes sense. If you're channeling and you can see the branding and things like that, it's just like you sort of think, how does that and that come together? But when it's you, anything comes together, doesn't it? When it's you, that is your brand, that is your thing, that the gifts and stuff that come together. It's just like, yeah, I've got a couple of money gen clients actually, and they're just like, oh, I'm all over the place, I do this and I do this and I got all these ideas, and I'm like, but that is you, so they can all come together
Yeah,
under an umbrella.
exactly. It just came through and I was like, she has 3 days of Oxford with me, I'm going to coach her on whatever comes through. So that's what came through.
I love this. Yeah, I love this so much. So what was I going to say? Something's coming back a minute ago. I lost it now. That's the thing, isn't it? When things start coming through and then you move on, it's like, I just lost it now. What was I going to say? No, completely lost it now. So yeah, so your clients, when you're working with your clients, like, and they see these big visions, do they like come back to you afterwards, and have people like shown you, oh my gosh, exactly what you were seeing come through, this has gone through, this is how it's changed my life? What's one of your favorite like visions or something that you've had for somebody that's just turned out and they've gone ahead, trusted? Because that's the thing behind it. Like, it's great if you have these visions and stuff, but then I guess if somebody else questions it and sits on it and doesn't actually go through, then it's not going to play out in the reality of their life, is it? So do most of your clients, like, they can sort of see what you're seeing, or they definitely trust and then they take? And where have you seen that? Like, what's one of your sort of favorite success stories, so to say?
Favorite? I mean, there's been a few where they've come back, like, well, actually, one was really nice, actually. One was for her mom. I channeled something about her mom that she had. They had to exchange words. Like, I felt like there was something that, there was some kind of tension or an argument, and then she had sent me a message after that. They had this huge, like, heart to heart, and she was crying. She's like, I'm crying like a baby, like, thank you so much, you're going to help so many people. Because, like, we did have that conversation, but that's a conversation. There was one woman who, she kind of did resist. I didn't know that she was not trusting my reading at part of it, where I had said, in January, you're going to have a full month of, like, you're going to lean back, you're going to rest, like, you're not going to be doing anything, and you're just going to be tuning into, like, your desires. Like, what do you really want to do in life? Like, not your day job, like, what do you want to do? And she told me only after the fact. She goes, guess what? Like, this actually did happen. I ended up getting sick. I was forced by the universe to really, like, take the entire month of January off. Wow. And when you told me that, she told me after, she's like, when you told me that, I was like, there's no way I'm going to take January off. Like, I'm gonna keep... and she's like, but it happened. And like, and she goes, and now I'm like, she's expanded her spiritual business. So, cause she's a nurse. So I was like, this is so beautiful. And other people have said, like, things that you're going to be, selling this type of thing. And then, like, it just kind of ended up happening. But
I love that. That must be so rewarding for you, though.
Yeah, there's been a few some messages when often I'll get the replies, like, right away, and a lot of the parents come through, fathers, mothers, and they just make me cry. Some of the messages are so, like, touching, because anyways, yeah, it's very special. Yeah,
I love it. So Marie, for anybody who's like, they're like, oh my gosh, like, I need to get into this, please tell everybody, whereabouts do you hang out? Where can people come and find you?
Okay, I spend most of, like, 90% of my time on Instagram. So you can follow me at xo.marielynn, MARIELYNN. I love living in my stories and all the things. I often do, like, fun little things in my stories that I don't even post anywhere else. So that's really the main place to be. Otherwise, you can just follow me on Instagram. Yeah.
I love that. But thank you so much. I absolutely love speaking with you, and it's amazing to see how your business has changed over the last few years. You're doing absolutely incredible. I love seeing, watching your journey and staying together. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. And we'll put all Marie's links in that down in the show notes underneath, so everybody can come out, find you. And yeah, I definitely recommend booking up a reading with Marie. Definitely. I love this stuff so much. So thank you, Marie, so much for this. This has been amazing. And I look forward to seeing you out on the online space.
Thank you so much, Claire. Love you.
Welcome. Love
Bye.
you too. Take care.